in the meeting. He talked about Lindsey Graham. Let's listen in now to Lindsey Graham and an interview that he just did.
The youth and the things that they're seeing on TV and all of this, how do you explain to the youth when they're seeing the other legacy that's being molded in light of what Martin Luther King did?
Well, what I tried to say today that America is not the world's policeman, but our values and our country really are the glue that holds the world together. You can see that when we abandon a place, it usually gets worse, not better, until it becomes stable. The glue that holds America together is the life and teachings of Dr. King. We made it this far by focusing on what we have in common. The ability to speak your mind, to elect your leaders, and to worship God the way you choose or not at all. The discourse right now is pretty low. We're producing some pretty good policy, but those of us in my business need to up their game. It's pretty embarrassing when you have to take your children out of the room just to report the news. So the only thing I can do is control me. I can't make anybody change but me. And I told the folks here today the best way to honor Martin Luther King in 2018 for me is to make sure that we don't go backward. We may not go forward as fast as we'd like. We may have differences about what forward looks like, but we sure as hell know what backward looks like.
And you talked about
we're not going backward.
You talked about that divisiveness.
Yeah.
What are you specifically going to be able to do to kind of bridge that racial gap in Congress, in the community, all that kind of stuff?
Our divisiveness is just not along racial lines. It's along ideological lines. I'm a conservative Republican who understands that liberal Democrats have a point of view. And like Ronald Reagan, I want to try to find common ground where we can. Dr. King focused on individuals more than he did anything else. He fought against racial injustice in terms of American institutions. He changed those institutions, but his goal was to change the hearts of people. So what I'm trying to do in Washington is fix a problem that affects people. There are 800,000 young people who have been given legal status. They came here as young people. Some of them are young adults now, and they've got no place else to go. My now famous meeting with the president was about solving a problem to secure our country and to be compassionate and understanding of these 800,000 children. When you tell them to go home, the only home they know is America. So I'm going to work with the president, with the Republicans and Democrats, and we're going to fix this problem. We're not going to demagogue this problem. There will be a solution to the needs of the 800,000 and hopefully beyond. There will be an effort to begin to secure our borders. This is a first step in a long journey. But I'm here to tell the people of South Carolina that I went to Congress and now the Senate for a purpose, to fix problems. And the only way you're going to fix a problem in Washington is to get a bipartisan solution. And I urge the president to lead us to that bipartisan solution. Mr. President, close the deal. 80% of Americans want to give the DACA kids a better life, and 80% of Americans want to secure our border and change a broken immigration system. It's going to take you, Mr. President, working with Republicans and Democrats to get this done. It's not going to be done on Twitter, by tweeting. It's going to be done by talking and understanding.
You talked about Martin Luther King's legacy today, but there's another legacy here. It's being molded in the White House, and we're talking about the youth and the things that they're seeing on TV and all of this. How do you explain to the youth when they're seeing the other legacy that's being molded in light of what Martin Luther King did?
Well, what I tried to say today that America is not the world's policeman, but our values and our country really are the glue that holds the world together. You can see that when we abandon a place.
All right, that wasn't Lindsey Graham repeating himself. That was the beginning of the interview. Again, interesting that he said that there will